Today is the day that so many of us have been waiting for and working toward. We finally do clearly see that light at the end of the tunnel. Our long, hard-fought battle against the worst global pandemic in more than a century is finally nearing an end.
Welcome back to State of the Union. I'm Dana Bash. Lots of smiles and some confused faces after the CDC said it's okay for vaccinated Americans to unmask indoors. The decision caught many states by surprise. Some are still deciding how to respond. Joining me now is Republican Governor Larry Hogan of Maryland, which as of yesterday lifted its statewide mask mandate. Governor, thank you so much for joining me. So you have said that masks are still strongly recommended for unvaccinated individuals, but they're not required legally anymore in your state of Maryland. So why not keep the mandate in place for unvaccinated people to protect their health and incentivize them to get shots?
Well, look, we're making tremendous progress. This really is a hopeful time, and all of our health metrics are just doing terrific. We're down in below 2% on our positivity. Hospitalizations are down, and it's the result of these vaccines that work. And we've vaccinated 2/3 of the people in the state, 87% of all the vulnerable people, the folks over 65. And it's made a huge difference. But the CDC came out with guidance, and we're following that guidance. But, the governors, the states have to actually operationalize it. And it's very hard. There's no way to differentiate between vaccinated and unvaccinated people from a legal requirement basis. So we're still advising people that are not yet vaccinated that, it will help keep them safe. The people that are vaccinated, they're completely safe and ready to go about, getting their lives back to normal.
There's no way to differentiate between unvaccinated and vaccinated from a legal requirement point of view. That's interesting because, the big question, as you're alluding to, is businesses. How do you function? How do you maintain mask requirements if you're a business when you don't really know who is vaccinated and who isn't? I mean, it's very, very difficult. So what is your answer to the businesses in your state?
Well, so we're giving the businesses the flexibility to do what they think is right, depending on the type of business and their clientele, their customers, their workers. They have the right to take actions, just like telling people no shirt, no shoes, no service. But it's not going to be something that's legally mandated from either the federal or the state government. But individuals and businesses get to make their own decisions.
So should businesses be allowed to ask their customers for proof of vaccination? Just like they're telling them that they have to wear a shirt and shoes?
I don't think that's really going to happen. I said 2/3 of our state has already been vaccinated, but I would say, less than 5% of them are carrying around some card saying that they have been. So it's just going to make a decision. I think they're just going to decide everyone wears a mask or everyone doesn't wear a mask, rather than trying to pick and choose winners and losers.
So House Republicans ousted Congresswoman Liz Cheney from party leadership this week over her criticism of former President Trump and the big lie. You have praised Congresswoman Cheney, and you've spoken out against Donald Trump as well. Does her removal send a signal that people like her, and by extension people like you, Governor, are not welcome in today's Republican Party?
Well, it certainly appears to send that signal, but I would just, caution everybody to say that this is very early in the fight. I've said that this is a 4-year battle for the soul of the Republican Party. We've got another election coming up next year in 2022. I think it was a mistake. Liz Cheney is a solid conservative Republican who voted with the president 93% of the time. I thought she just stood up and told the truth and said exactly what she thought. And to ostracize somebody or remove them from their leadership position is crazy. I mean, it's kind of doubling down on failure. We've lost the White House, the House, and the Senate over the past 4 years. And to continue to, do the exact same thing and expect a different result is the definition of insanity.
Do you agree with Congresswoman Cheney that former President Trump poses, in her words, an ongoing threat to American democracy?
I think he's toxic for the Republican Party and for the country, and I think we've got to find a way to get the Republican Party back to the party of Lincoln and Reagan, get back to the more traditional big tent party that can appeal to a majority of people. Otherwise, we simply aren't going to have control we're not going to get the White House back, and we won't have control of the House and the Senate.
So how do you do that, given the fact that your entire party leadership in the House is on the side of the big lie?
Well, I know that, folks like you and I pay a lot of attention about what's going on in the House Republican politics, but the average person across America, I don't think, does. And those folks in the House of Representatives don't represent all of the views of all the people in the country.
But they do
there are
represent
leaders
a lot of the
outside
Republican
Washington,
base.
Republican governors that, yeah, they do. Look, we don't want to alienate the entire Republican base, but we also have to tell them the truth, and we also have to figure out a way to move on so that we can win elections. We have to have the base, and then you've got to go appeal to other people, like I've done in the bluest state in the country, getting reelected by, broadening the tent. That's the way you win elections.
At a House hearing this week, Republican after Republican distorted the facts about the Capitol insurrection. Georgia Congressman Andrew Clyde, who you can see he is here at the center of this photo, barricading the House chamber doors on January 6th, compared what you're looking at right now, what our viewers are, Governor, to a normal tourist visit. You, Governor, since you're local in D.C., you spent January 6th fielding desperate calls from lawmakers asking for help. So why are so many of these elected Republicans lying about what happened that day?
Well, it's definitely revisionist history, and it's crazy in my opinion. I mean, everybody saw exactly what happened, and I was in the middle of that, as you say. We were getting desperate calls from the leaders of Congress who were under attack, and the Capitol Police were overwhelmed. We sent in the Maryland State Police and the Maryland National Guard to try to put down the insurrection. And people to say that didn't happen, it's just nuts.
Governor, I drove by a gas station in Maryland yesterday. The line was 20 cars long, probably more. There are a lot of places up and down the East Coast with no gas at all, thanks to panic buying after the Colonial Pipeline cyber attack. What does this tell you about the vulnerabilities of America's infrastructure?
Well, it's certainly a wake-up call. We've been, I led a year-long initiative for the NGA on rebuilding America's infrastructure, and part of that was focused on resiliency and on securing our energy assets, and cyber security is a huge issue that we're going to continue to deal with these problems, but this showed the vulnerability. It was just a tremendous problem that we've got to address, and that's one of the reasons why we need to get a bipartisan consensus on an infrastructure bill, and I'm working along with Congressman Upton and a number of others, the Problem Solvers Caucus and Joe Manchin. We're trying to reach that bipartisan agreement.
Governor Larry Hogan of Maryland, thank you so much for your time this morning. I appreciate it.
Thank you, Dana.
Thank you.